As you can guess, life has become busy. I was in India for the month of August and well, it was chaos. Between trying to complete the earrings that I was donating to my sister's business, which, by the way, is now under my mom's name, and getting all medical tests completed, I'm not sure how the time flew by. We also had a tragic event in the family and now I'm sick. Please do excuse my voice in this video. I will have a separate vlog coming up next talking about my visit, and if my mom does get the business registration in time and the shop is open by that time, then I will talk about that too. Oh, and if you are new here, hi, my name is Kitsu and I'm an immigrant in US who is planning to shift back to India by the end of the next year. I started this channel to document my art journey so that I can start an art-related small business back home as soon as we make the shift. And as you will see in the next vlog, the decision got more solidified in this India visit for me and my husband. If you have watched my previous videos for the past few months, I have been posting on how to deal with the gunky clay with various techniques to cover up the flaws, like weird color or something stuck in the clay, so that it looks flawless. I absolutely hate wasting clay in any shape or form. It is expensive, I'm not selling anything just yet, and either way, it is precious raw material. So, I really do not want to waste any part. When I'm storing scraps, I try to be conscious of what colors I'm storing together, but it is not always possible. And you end up with something that is muddy and really unusable. So, I had a bunch of blobs of weird clay colors that I was sick of looking at. And so, I decided to mix them all. But I had no idea what to do about that even weirder gray color that got created. If I use my normal techniques on it, I would still have the dirty color show up at the bottom, which is not great. So I decided to try some sandwiching. The clay for earrings need to be about 1.5 to 2 millimeters thick at least, based on if you are going to use the resin or not. If I'm using resin, which I personally hate, then I try to keep the thickness to a minimum. This technique actually gives a unique opportunity for making rather thicker earrings. There are many ways to go about it, but the idea is to sandwich the gunky clay between two layers that are right. First, I will demonstrate the terrazzo technique. And yes, this is the same gray clay, but now I have already done some other experiment on it and it has some white mixed in it. For this one, I do make sure to have a very thin layer of white color at the bottom so that that weird gray white color is not visible even on the other side. I lay down the layers one by one and then cut them to make sure they are aligned perfectly. Otherwise, when you go and make the cuts in it, you might end up not having anything in between. So they all need to be the same size. One mistake that I did here, which I realized much later, is that because you are sandwiching 3 layers on top of each other, they all need to be very thin. I took the last one, the white layer, which is the thinnest, because I use the thinnest setting on my pasta machine for it. However, I did not do the same thing for the gunky layer. It was at the setting of 2 at my pasta machine, which is a little bit more thicker than 1.5 mm, which I regretted later. Anyway, I'm mixing colors here. First one is going to be very light pastel pink. I took crimson from Sculpey Primo and just mixed white with it. Really pretty color at the end. And then I just make cuts randomly with my tissue blade to make it a little geometric. And then I put them on this gray layer one by one. Randomly, there is no rhyme or reason for why I am placing which piece where. Just a design to your liking. I do a similar thing with the blue clay, so I took the Sculpey Primo turquoise, mixed it with white, laid it down. Again, should have been thinner, but then I cut the geometric pieces and then put them on the remaining parts of the clay. And then in the end I did the same with white color. And then I rolled it out. And obviously there were some small spaces where that gunky clay was still coming through, so I covered them with some more white there. Now I realized that my tile was too small for this as I rolled it, so I had to cut it a little bit. And there I make the cuts. This rose cutter was actually one of the first 3D printings I tried at my local library, which was a really great experience, and I will be doing that more in the future. But this was part of the inventory that I was going to make for the shop. These roses did not pan out that great, however other ones are really good. For the ones that have impression in them, you might actually in the end after baking see the gunky clear. So I would rather suggest to have simpler designs for this technique, unless you are using a thicker layer on the top. Ta-da! This is the first plate, and obviously I have half of it left, which is still very thick. So I did struggle with thickness here. Lessons learned. And then this is the second slab, and I'm again making cuts because I know my tile is too small for this. And then I spread it a little more. And then I made it half blooms, which will be available in my shop in the future. So here you can see I ended up with something like this when it comes to rose. And then these half blooms. These were my first experiment with bicone beads. Okay, moving on. This time, and you can see all clays coming from previous experiment, I will run it through pasta machine. I actually like the layers, the colors that are coming, but it's still not that great. So I'm gonna sandwich it again, but this time, rather than colorful ones, I'm gonna use 2 white layers on the top and bottom. And this time, because of the lesson learned, all the 3 layers are rather thinner. And yep, gotta make sure that all of them are the same size. So if you have to cut, you can cut. You can use the remaining clay for later. And so as you can see, it was much easier to roll the clay this time. I actually ran it through pasta machine once at the setting 2, so all 3 layers stuck together. Not bad. Alright, I'm gonna use again the cutters I got printed in my local library. And cornstarch is obviously essential. Unfortunately, the moon did not pan out that great, so I'm just gonna work on the 2 seashells and the foxes. And then before I go on baking them, I'm gonna use chalk pastels to color them. I absolutely love the white color because you can do anything with it. And here I'm just gonna color the shells. I'm not showing the foxes because I ruined them, unfortunately. But these shells came out really great. And I also added some pearls with varnish on them. Absolutely love them. And that's it. That's the video. That's the tutorial this time. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments, how did you like it? Do you have more techniques that you use? I hope to see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Bye bye.